Hey everybody, and welcome to Growth Insights number, 11. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. As Marco Bergin, sorry for the pronunciation, mentioned last time, we'd like you to engage with our videos a bit more. So at the end of the video, please comment with the name of your favorite tool that we talked about, or article, so that we know what you like the most. Okay, let's start with something light and fun. Now within Growth Tribe, we don't have that much human power behind social media. So like Luke says, we need to reduce the time to produce and increase the impact of what we actually produce. In line with this, there's this new tool which we fell in love with last week. It's called Shout 7, and it basically allows you to create really small, simple GIFs in seconds. Check out some of the ones that Luke has created. And as another example, I was prototyping a new intro for our new series, the AI Insight series, which we'll talk about later. And you can see that I prototyped this in about 30 seconds. So if you want to create some quick and dirty GIFs, give it a try, it's free. Now, if you want to take your GIFs one step further, thanks to Raffaele Gaeto for sharing this really cool tool. It's called gifs.com. It allows you to upload one of your YouTube videos or somebody else's YouTube video. You can trim which section of the video you want, you can add your own captions, and you can create an animated GIF in a really short amount of time. And the reason why these tools are so important is because, as we know, people's attention spans are really low and they usually click on stuff that's moving. You need to grab their attention on these social media networks. Now, speaking of social media, we've been absolutely obsessed with LinkedIn and Instagram for the past year. But what about Facebook, which had grown up to be one of the world's most powerful discovery platforms in the world? Internally, we'd already been talking about the reduction in quality of the Facebook feed recently. We also felt that our team and our clients were on the platform less and less. Now, even though CTRs on ads are not going down yet, two recent articles that I was reading do state that something negative is happening with Facebook. This one is clearly stating that people are spending much less time on Facebook than they used to. And this second study from Gizmodo that shows that yes, indeed, Facebook is becoming an old person's network. So let's hope that Mark Zuckerberg's new Facebook algorithm changes can increase the quality of the feed again, and if not, maybe start looking into new platforms. But Facebook as a company will be fine. They own WhatsApp, they own Instagram, they own Facebook Messenger. We're still extremely excited about the results we've been getting with Messenger. We talked in the last episodes about how important it was to start building your chatbot Messenger list. A little bit like an email list, but on Facebook Messenger. So thanks to Stefan for sharing mailport.io, which will basically allow you to create a MailChimp style campaign, but not on email, on Facebook Messenger. The best part is that it's free for up to 1,000 Facebook Messenger subscribers, so you can really test it deeply before starting to pay for it. Okay, a little bit more on some social media news. Let's move from Messenger to Instagram. Job found some interesting updates to the Instagram API. It's now possible to schedule posts for the future with Instagram's API without having to use some clever hacking like we used to in the past. Speaking of this, Job also shared a tool that's really good for scheduling Instagram posts. It's called later.com. Now, why is later.com different than using Buffer, for example? Well, their main USP is that they allow you to schedule your posts visually, and Instagram is such a visual platform that it actually makes sense to be able to schedule them visually. Other good thing is that it's not too pricey. We already use Buffer a lot internally, so for now we're using later.com, but as soon as Buffer integrates Instagram posting into their offer, we'll see whether we switch or not. And of course, the trade-off for opening your API is you get a lot more of automation, you get a lot more bots. So let's see if Instagram doesn't get too polluted over the next few months. Okay, one more Instagram tool. This one's pretty cool. We use a tool called Twitter Audit to find out whether somebody's Twitter account is actually legit or whether that person paid for followers. It's a great way to spot cheaters. I already found a few competitors or a few friends who had bought fake followers. Well, this one called Hype Auditor allows you to do exactly the same thing, but for Instagram. So for somebody who has a lot of Instagram followers, you can audit whether they're real followers or whether they paid for them with ClickFarm. Okay, so as you can see, we're focusing quite a lot on the top of the funnel this time. We're going to stay at the top a little bit, and then we'll start going deeper in the funnel. For now, let's move from social media to emailing, both for B2B emailing and B2C emailing. Here's an interesting new email outreach tool from Quinton. Well, what makes this one special is that you can actually personalize your emails, but not just the text. You can actually personalize little memes or little images within that email, hopefully to get people's attention, stand out from other campaigns, reduce banner blindness, get those clicks. Just grab people's attention with this new rich format. Speaking of emailing, let's talk specifically about cold emailing. Here's another nice share from Quinton. It's a nice underground collection of cold emailing templates that are supposed to be charming. Even if you don't use them exactly, I hope they'll help you with some inspiration. Here's my favorite one to contact influencers. I just specifically like this very first sentence because it's kind of quirky and sarcastic. So have a look through the list and maybe you'll get some nice inspiration for your emails. Now, as a lot of us know, cold emailing might get a lot trickier starting in May 2018. We've been talking quite a bit about the GDPR in the last year. We even created a whole video, like a cheat sheet for GDPR, your first steps with the GDPR. As always, you can find the link in the description below. Well, thanks a lot to Marta Midden for sharing this assessment tool that's offered by Microsoft. So of course, the assessment is great to assess whether you're ready for GDPR, but just doing the assessment itself will actually give you more information on the implications of GDPR. Okay, now let's go a little bit deeper inside the user funnel and let's talk product. Specifically, let's talk about prototyping. Now what we do and what most of the people we train do is they use Invision for high fidelity prototyping. The problem is once they start testing these prototypes with actual customers, it's very difficult to track from a metrics point of view. It's very easy to track the qualitative feedback, but not the quantitative feedback. So what's a Google Analytics for an Invision prototype? Well, thanks to Stefan for sharing this absolute gem. It's called maze.design, and it allows you to add quantitative tracking to your prototypes in Invision in a very simple way. This makes it easier to step out of the lab and get some quantitative data on how beta testers use your prototype in the wild. It adds things like heat maps, successes, misclicks, you name it. Okay, now on another subject, the way we usually optimize once we're deeper in the funnel is of course through split testing, A/B testing, multivariate testing, or sequential testing. And there's a website that we used to use and love that was called Which Test 1. Camille has found out that Which Test 1 has rebranded to behave.com. So it's a really cool site with lots of A/B testing use cases, but the best part is the little quizzes, like little games, where you can guess whether you're a CRO expert and guess whether the variation one or the original version one. A/B testing quizzes. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about data visualization. How do you communicate your findings, your wins to the rest of the company in very simple way? We love easily visualizing difficult concepts like segmented retention or customer lifetime value. So thanks to Jim for this new tool, which I've been playing around with for the past 2 weeks. I'm absolutely in love with it. Basically, AM charts allows you to build really beautiful charts without a single line of code, and they're interactive. They have a great library of demos, and what I love is that they also have a free online testing demo where you can start playing around with charts without even needing to sign up. Speaking of charts, this chart was probably the most mind-blowing from us for the past 3-4 weeks. This one was shared by Bernardo, and with Bernardo we're always asking ourselves who actually runs AI and machine learning within organizations. And we thought it would be like the CTO or the CIO. What's really interesting in this chart is we see that it's a healthy mix of marketeers, product owners, and of chief information officers that share the responsibility of AI. And this really proves the point that we've been trying to make, that AI is going to be backed by multidisciplinary teams within organizations, data scientists and domain experts at the same time. We've had so much to share about AI in the past weeks, and we're really getting excited about it, and we've started using it internally. So much that we decided to actually start a whole new series just on AI for marketing. This one will be presented by my personal hero, Bernardo, and you can find the first link to the first episode in the description below. Okay, so if you don't go and actually watch the episode, here's just to give you a taster of some of the tools we've been playing around with. This tool that Bernardo found, and which he'll probably talk about in one of the future episodes, is called Affectiva. With Affectiva's technology, it's possible to get somebody to watch one of their videos and using some image recognition algorithm automatically detect what feeling a person is feeling when they're watching a video. So for example, here's Bernardo watching an M&M commercial, and here are some of the results. Speaking of image recognition, some of the people we train have very large e-commerce stores, and it's important for them to be able to tag images automatically without actually doing it manually. Using image recognition, this is possible. Thanks to Aurelian for sharing Depot-Matic. What's great here is that they have some live demos so you can feel the technology yourself. They have stuff around real estate tagging, fashion tagging, and interior decoration tagging. So this is just to show you some of the applications of image recognition for marketing and product, and like I said, we'll share a lot more in our new series with Bernardo. Now I know we expect a lot from you. We expect you to be on top of the latest tools, on top of the latest trends, understanding things like machine learning for marketing, but I think it's really important that you stay on the cutting edge. The speed at which we do these videos is symptomatic of the speed of the world we live in at the moment. I read this really interesting article based on extensive research by Forrester. Forrester predicts that more and more CMOs will actually turn into CGO, Chief Growth Officer. Big brands like Coca-Cola have already made the step by replacing their CMO with a CGO. It also predicts something that we hold very close to our hearts and that we've been saying for 2-3 years now. CMOs who have traditionally been rewarded with big campaigns will need to start growing themselves. We see them as needing to become more data-driven, more technologically savvy, and much more experiment and ROI focused. If you're watching this, you're probably already on board, but if you need to convince anybody else in your organization, please see the description to the Forrester report in the link. It might be something really powerful to share around. Okay, now let's practice what we preach and let's go back to tools that allow us to become even more efficient. Knowing your competitive landscape is vital for growth. It's vital for predicting what might happen in the future. Or as Sun Tzu puts it, if you know the enemy, you need not fear the results of 100 battles. So what that means for us is competitive analysis. But who has time to run week-long competitive analysis? I know that we don't. We just want 70% okay competitive analysis. We've shared a lot of competitive tracking tools in past episodes. One of the ones we use the most is SEMrush here at Growth Tribe, but Stefan introduced us to SERPstat, which we're falling in love with, especially for people who are new to this. We use this tool to check out competitors, discover new competitors, or just track companies that we really look up to, especially from a content point of view. It's like SEMrush, but it's more accessible for beginners. Something that's interesting is if your volume is big enough, you can also see who your competitors are based on shared keywords. So actually they might not be direct product competitors, but you might be competing with them on similar keywords. keywords. You can also see for competitors or companies that you like, which pages have the highest visibility, which ones are getting the most ranked keywords for. And if needed, you can filter specifically for different search engines depending on which countries you're in. You can start testing it today. It's really worth taking it for a spin. We're about to wrap up. Before I share some last points, please remember to comment in the comments below what your favorite tool, insight, or article was from this episode, so we know what you like and what you like less. Okay, great. And now we have some last final points. Here's a nice little article you might want to read. It's about Google Dorks. Google Dorks are basically Google searches that allow you to see things that you weren't really supposed to see, whether that's lists of emails or internal documents. You could just scroll through the article and see some search queries and try them out yourself. It's really fun and you might come up with interesting results. Also, thanks to Job for letting us know that it's now actually possible to promote a product on Product Hunt. It used to be all organic, but now they have a paid version. The only caveat is you can only promote a product that's already been hunted. So if you've already been hunted on Product Hunt, it's now possible to be re-hunted and re-featured if you pay. And finally, here's a cool little article that was shared by Ferdinand. It's lots of statistics on emailing shared by Yesware. There were some interesting stats in there.